as we get started here to go over the, predictability of what's happening here in America as we age, I'm going to bring on a 55-year young guy. Okay, he is something. He's a dad of two. He works out and runs 5 miles a day every day. Okay, is doing this. He travels the world educating on wellness. He's 37 years on his own personal wellness journey. So without further ado, Dr. Luigi Gratton, are you there?
I am here, Michael. Can you hear me okay?
I can. Let me just change my view. Okay, there you go. Oh,
yes.
Fantastic. Why don't you take it over?
Great nice to see you. Thank you, and welcome to everyone around the world who's joining this seminar, this training. We're very excited to have you. My name is Luigi Gratton. I'm a family medicine physician. I'm going to give you a little bit. By the way, please excuse my Zoom camera if it auto adjusts. So sometimes it'll move up really close and it'll back up. So I apologize. I don't know why the Zoom application has changed in the last several months, but I'm still getting used to it. But we welcome you all. As Michael said, this is really exciting because we want to talk about really healthy aging. And I think Michael really set it up as a perspective of what we'd like to talk about tonight. As a family medicine doctor, I've seen a lot of folks in the sort of like anti-aging space, both young and old, who are preparing for the future, and people who are in their 80s, 90s, and above, who have been taking certain measures, whether it's through nutrition, exercise, lifestyle, to really take care of their lifespan. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. I've got about 15 minutes, and 15 to 20 minutes, I'm going to walk you through a few slides. But I first want to give you a little bit of background on who I am, what I've been doing for the last 25 years in medicine, and even before that, what I did as an undergraduate with a keen interest in this area of nutrition and health. So I'm going to share some of my slides. Let me see if this comes up okay. Hopefully you guys will see this. Okay, can everyone see this? Okay, I see a thumbs up from Michael. Thank you. Okay, so this is a little bit of on my background. I am a local guy here in Los Angeles, California, born and raised. I went to UCLA. It's a pretty big university out here in California. And there I studied as an undergraduate human physiology. And this was where I started really kind of taking interest in nutrition and how we can kind of fight the aging process, or I should say age gracefully. And we'll talk about that. I did a master's in public health, and that's a lot of sort of prevention, things you can do, ahead of time. Then I went away to medical school in New York. I went to a place called Mount Sinai, where I got my MD degree. And I came back to California, where I studied family medicine. So I got 3 years of family medicine training. I got my board certification. You got to take an exam and get boarded. And then after that, I got really interested in nutrition. So I went back to UCLA and did a 1-year fellowship in clinical nutrition. So in the hospital, I started seeing patients in the clinical setting, help them, whether they're young or older, how they could work with their nutrition. Now, here's the key. I started working with Herbalife 20 years ago. And for the first 10 years, I was still seeing patients at UCLA. So I would lecture with Herbalife talking about nutrition and all types of the benefits of it, particularly with healthy aging. We love talking that. But in the clinic, I would see a lot of elderly patients, and I don't like to use the word elderly because to me, if you're 105 years of age and you're going strong, then you've got a healthy, active lifespan. Really what Michael said about lifespan is key. But this is my background in science, so I just wanted you to understand I'm still a licensed physician. I've been working with Herbalife a long time, but I have a keen interest in how people are aging the right way and really taking care of their health. So let's get into some of the sort of the nomenclature and the verbiage on what healthy aging means, because from the perspective of nutrition, there's going to be a lot more people in the next 5 to 10 years who are over the age of 65. Like my wife and I, as I'm hitting 55, my wife's a little bit younger than me. We're already talking about what we're going to be doing in the next 10 years when we're 65. But I'm thinking about what I'm going to be doing when I'm 85. I want to be driving my car. I want to be taking, hopefully seeing some grandkids. I'd like to be, having good cognition and good strength and going to the gym and running and all the things that Michael mentioned, I want to continue doing. So by definition, healthy aging is not just the absence of disease, it's having physical health. That means your muscles are working, your heart is pumping. Good cognitive health. That means you can think about where the keys are for the car keys. You can remember a puzzle. You can work on a puzzle. You can watch a movie and follow the plot. That's what I often ask my patients. Can you watch a 2-hour movie? Is it confusing, or can you follow the plot? That's cognition, your ability to think. And then, of course, mental health. We want people to not have, episodes of depression. We want people to look forward to things. And that really has to do with social engagement. Are you plugged into something? So that's the important thing. So we just want to tee that up because we're going to cover a few areas. Don't worry about the numbers on this next slide. This is really about the statistics on aging. This is simply to say, if you're thinking about working with people who are in the aging population, if you yourself are like me, 55, moving to 65, or 65 going to 85, and you're thinking about the future.
Recording in progress.
We are not alone. That's the key. We are part of a like-minded group that are all thinking about our health, and the population is growing. So right now, if you think about in the United States, and I know we have people tuned in from around the world, but the statistics are pretty even when you think about Western countries that follow a Western diet and work and go through a sort of Western lifestyle. We're about 17% of the population. I should say people 65 and up are about 17% of the population. But this is what's amazing. Every day, 11,000 new seniors, this isn't staggering to me, 11,000 new seniors are popping up. And not only that, they're living longer. We're all living longer because we have the ability to identify things that we can take care of, whether it's brain health, heart health, muscle health. So future projections, and this is in the near future, by 2040, we're thinking there's going to be almost 80 million Americans. That's almost a quarter of the entire country is going to be 65 and up. And let's face it, with the cost of things, right, that it's been trending like this for 65 and up. When we look at the people who are 85 years and up, this is going to be a big thing. We know there's going to be a lot of health care, a lot of home care that's needed. So what we want to do is try to prevent that with good nutrition, exercise, so that all of us on this call, all of our loved ones, can be independent. Okay, that's the key. So it's not just living to be 105 years of age, it's having a good health span, as Michael said when he opened the call. What's amazing is when we look at the number of people 100 and 100 plus, that's doubled in the last 40 years. Okay, I think you guys get the message. A lot of folks getting older, very exciting, and that's an opportunity. Now, as we age, I got the good news and the bad news. We can do a lot of great things as we age. We can take care of ourselves, but the bad news is aging technically starts at about 25. I know it's a little shocking, but we hit our peak bone muscle mass, all that great stuff is around 25. And then what happens very progressively is things start to decline. So now I've got six areas that you can look at. I want to keep it very simple. If you look at the upper left-hand corner, the age-related muscle and bone loss is a big area of concern. Now, this is probably what's trending if you're following the news, if you're on social media. Everyone's talking protein, calcium, exercise, training. If you watch 60 Minutes, a few weeks ago, there was a huge piece on 60 Minutes about aging with a Dr. Peter Attia. That's Attia. He's pretty well known on social media. And this Dr. Peter Attia out of Stanford basically said, we age sort of at a normal progression, but at the age of 70, things tend to fall off the cliff. And that's really the muscle and bone area that we really want to protect. So when we think about muscle and bone, it's important for your functionality. If you move over, you'll see there's a picture of an eye. Age-related macular degeneration is the #1 sort of reason for blindness in the United States. And we know that's a lot of oxidation through the diet, through environmental toxins and things like that, but we can protect that with good nutrition, exercise, and sleep. Okay. If you move over to that image of the heart, we know that there's obviously normal age-related heart health changes. Things get a little bit rusty. If you think about a pipe, if you've seen an old pipe and you've seen it cut open, there's a leaded buildup in the pipe. That's what happens with our arteries and our arterioles, all the small blood vessels. The nice thing is, even though they lose flexibility and they get a little rusty, we can actually change that, and we can make them a little bit protect their flexibility, and we can even help them open up their vasculature a little bit with our nutrition. We'll talk about that. And then also, if you move down, you'll see older people have a higher risk of high and low blood sugar. This is actually for young and old. It really doesn't matter, because in the United States, we have a big problem with pre-diabetes and diabetes. So again, nutrition can take care of that, because we know that affects everything. Sugar has been really vilified, and we know that it really causes a lot of problems from head to toes. Now, that fifth area, you see an image of someone with a cane. That really has to do with memory decline, reasoning, and thinking. This is what I mentioned with cognition. But here's the great news. There's a couple things that we've learned recently, just in the last 20 years. A lot of research out of Boston showed that when you sleep at night, if you really get a good 8 hours of sleep, believe it or not, your body naturally does a cleansing process. That's why we push for good sleep. And when you have this cleansing process, it's called the glymphatic system with a G, GL, glymphatic system. It actually cleans and it takes care of a lot of the proteins that deposit and that can oxidize the brain tissue. And so that's what we think is a major reason for cognitive decline, risk of Alzheimer's. And on these calls, we really can't say that we're preventing disease or doing things like that. But we just want to talk about some of the facts, that the things that people can do with their nutrition, their sleep, and their exercise that are going to help. Lastly, you'll notice on the lower right-hand corner, it says elderly individuals are more susceptible to infections. There's a very tremendous association with lean muscle mass. So going back to that picture of the bone, when you lose bone and muscle, people get infections, they get colds a lot more often. Okay, so this is all, you're thinking, geez, thanks for the bad news, Luigi. This isn't cool. The great thing is, the good news is that a lot of this is sort of preventable. Even if you are 80, 90, 100 years of age, there's plenty of research showing it doesn't matter what age you start. If you get on the right nutrition program, if you're doing the right thing with exercise, and if you're getting good sleep, you can actually change that. So again, it goes back to what Michael mentioned, health span, as you see on the image. It's not about, oh, wow, I'm 92 and my life is over. Not at all. There's plenty of research showing you can lift weights, you'll grow that muscle tissue, and you'll become much better. Okay, so I first want to kick this off with muscle, because this is a huge area that is, I want to say preventable or treatable, but as a physician, I often say that. But you can take care of this immediately. This is something that you can do right now. So first, take a look at the data. This is the Peter Attia 60 Minutes piece. This is what he talked about. You'll notice the curves start to drop, almost like a ski slope, right? And you'll see the word disability. On that 60 Minutes piece, if you saw Dr. Attia, and I'm sure you could check the reruns on it, you'll notice around the age of 70, I didn't put ages here, but it says adult life and older life. You'll see a significant drop in muscle, and that's what we call sarcopenia. This is natural age-related muscle loss. It happens to everybody. But here's the good news. Even if you don't exercise, if you're simply eating more protein, sufficient amounts of protein, and this guy that I studied with at UCLA, named Dr. David Heber, he's kind of the godfather, or I should say one of the godfathers, who studied protein 40 to 50 years ago when he was at Harvard and then at UCLA. And he found that people who get severely burned, they lose muscles, they lose muscle mass very quickly. If someone's in a significant burn accident, or if they've been in a car crash and they sit in bed for 3 to 4 weeks, they lose muscle quickly. But what they found out at Harvard and UCLA, if they supplement with a lot of protein in the diet, more than the national average or more than the recommended amount, you can slow that inevitable loss. So that's really good news. And this is something I always lead with. When I'm in clinic seeing a patient, when I used to do that, and now when I'm talking to folks, I always tell them, please start with protein. It's the most important nutrient. It's trending, of course, in the last 5 years on social media. But it's something that you, on this call, if you're not consuming protein in the right amounts, you can do that immediately. And it's something that will literally slow and flatten that curve. If you actually decide to exercise while taking your protein, you're going to significantly not only flatten the curve, you can almost reverse it. And there's plenty of research out of Duke, major universities, taking 85-year-old individuals who are bedridden, who could not brush their hair, balance their checkbook, or cook, and they start lifting weights, and boom, their cognition improves, their muscle mass improves, and of course they increase their protein intake. Okay, so I think you guys get the message. This is a really important thing. Now you may be saying, hey, I don't want to go to the gym, I just want to be more mobile and active at home. And that's what we check for when we're in clinic, when we're talking to an individual. When I do sort of a history and physical on a patient, I always ask them, tell me about your activities of daily living. Are you able to shower by yourself? If you're a woman, can you put on and remove your own bra? If you're a man, can you put a belt on, and can you put your own socks on, or do you need help? How do you transfer out of bed? How do you get in the shower? You know, we ask a lot of these questions because it gives us a good indication of one's mobility and what we call the ADL, activities of daily living. So often if you're a little bit older and you're in the doctor's office, this is usually what they're recording, your ability to function on your own to see if you're going to need help. And remember that statistic I mentioned earlier, the number of 85-year-olds is going to increase significantly. And we're already thinking about how much health care they're going to need at home. So we want people to be more independent. We want them to function by themselves if they can. Or if they maybe need a little bit of a home health nurse pop in for 45 minutes to help them cook, organize the day, no problem. Okay? So I think you understand this is all very, again, treatable and preventable, I can't say, but just with good nutrition. And I'm going to go through some of the nutrients that we focus on. All right. So it's nutrition. There's exercise, obviously resistance training. If you want to hula hoop like these ladies are doing, going for a walk is probably the most important thing any of us can do. Now, I've seen a lot of patients in wheelchairs and they say, I can't walk. I'm in a wheelchair for the rest of my life. No problem. You can use an arm bike, or you can take, if you're wheelchair bound. So it doesn't matter what type of endurance exercise you do, you gotta just move, okay? And community is one of the most important things because there's a lot of books, especially there's a book called Healthy Aging, and it's very well, it's been pointed out that it's not just nutrition, exercise, but community. The ability to feel like you have purpose and you have power and agency is really important as you get older. So they looked at a lot of these little towns in Japan where when their folks were 80 and 85 years old, folks celebrated those older individuals. They would sit in the center of town and the young people would come and ask them for advice. And that means you give purpose and you give a lot of power to older individuals. So if you get plugged into a community, it's one of the most important things for aging because people feel purpose and they feel younger. Okay, so nutrition, exercise, community. I'm just going to go through a few more slides on nutrition, talk about a little bit about exercise, and we'll pass it back because I want to make sure I respect the time. So balanced nutrition, now you're probably thinking, hey, everyone eats in the United States and everyone's eating a certain type of diet, but here's the problem. On the left side, you don't have to go through and memorize everything here, but this is generally what we're consuming. Most Americans have a high saturated fat diet, a lot of processed foods that are high in sugar, low in fiber, and low in antioxidants, and a lot of unhealthy fats. And quite honestly, it's not because the chef at the restaurant wants to make us sick or wants us to age not so gracefully. It's because this is what gives tremendous shelf life to foods. We don't want foods to go rancid, so they use a lot of these filler things to keep foods with long shelf life. On the right side is what we want to eat. We want to eat lots of good, healthy protein sources. Again, something you can change today if you're on this call for the first time and you're learning about some of the opportunities. Plant-based sources we want to balance. I love eating steak. I like chicken, fish, but I also eat soy, flax, chia, quinoa. I try and balance my animal protein, and I love animal protein, and I try and balance that with plant protein. Limit my added sugars. This is a tough one for me because I love sweets, I love candy, I like soda, but I try and limit those. And if I can find other beverages that have a nice sweet taste, then I can lower my sugar, maybe with non-nutritive sweeteners. So high fiber is so important. Look, as we age, and I travel a lot, as Michael pointed out, this might be TMI, you guys, but if you're my age, 55 and older, we get constipated. The bowel motility slows down, and it's so amazing when you have a great bowel movement. When I get off the plane, now we're really family, right? When I get off the plane, and I was in Tokyo, Japan last week, I went to my hotel room, and I was so excited because I had a little bit of an aloe vera beverage. I had a protein shake and I put some little fiber in there, and I had a wonderful bowel movement that evening. I know, TMI, but it's so important because not only does it cleanse the GI tract, it helps to support your microbiome, the healthy bacteria that are in your gut. So high fiber is really important, okay? Phytonutrients, these are botanical nutrients that you gotta eat. If you're eating blueberries every day and strawberries, great. If you're not, make sure you're finding a source for those phytonutrients, those colorful fruits and vegetables that should be on your plate, because they have really important natural plant chemicals that help support your body. And then of course, polyunsaturated fats. If you like fish, great. If you like avocado, great. If you like flax, chia, if you're vegan, fantastic. Find ways to get the healthy fats that are going to support your brain and your body. Okay, so this is kind of what sums it up. We just went through these different areas, but I do want to mention a few other areas because we talk about the major big nutrients that support your muscle, that's protein. We talk about fiber and, of course, healthy fats. By the way, healthy fats make up about 40% of your brain. The omega-3 fats that you read about, omega-3 fats in fish oil, or these other sources, that's what your brain is made up. So if you're consuming more omega-3s, there's very good research showing that it's going to help support your brain health, not just your heart health and your muscle health, but your brain health. And that's so important as we age. Okay, so those are the big nutrients, and there's small nutrients, vitamins, minerals, and these plant nutrients that are in your fruits and vegetables. But I do want to mention two other things before we go on to exercise and start to tie this up. Brain health is trending in a huge way because everyone knows, okay, if I'm going to live to be 85 plus, and I can guarantee you everyone on this call, I can't guarantee, but the statistics show that everyone on this call is going to live to be probably 80 to 100. So think about that. Let's say we all go to 95 to 100, hypothetically. How do you want your brain to be? Do you want to be active? You want to be able to think, have good cognition, good memory, correct? So because of that, what can we do? The research shows as long as you can keep the blood vessels open, during the day you're walking around, you're thinking, you're moving, that helps to open up your blood vessels because it creates a natural compound called nitric oxide, which opens the blood vessel. When we go to sleep, things tend to collapse. So a lot of research is being shown on not only getting 8 hours of sleep, but if you could take certain supplements in the evening time, there's a few amino acids. One's called arginine, one's called citrulline, vitamin C. They actually help to open up the blood vessels at night, so you're getting more blood to your brain for those 8 hours while you sleep. And the research has shown that is lowering the risk of dementia, cognitive problems, Alzheimer's, okay? Now, I just read about an influencer who's using, this is gonna sound a little crazy, Viagra and Cialis, which are used for sexual vitality because they help open up the blood vessels in the pelvic region for more sexual health. They open up the blood vessels all over the body though. So some people are using them at very low levels, so there's more blood to the brain at night. So think about ways, and these are, people are thinking of biohacks, but brain health is not just about the omega-3s, the Herbalife fish oil, but the fish oil that many of us use, but the fish oils you can find wherever you may be. But it's also about using different types of amino acids that can help support the blood vessels being open, okay? The last thing I do want to mention is, because it's trending and everyone keeps asking me about it, is as physicians, we've talked about organs. We talk about brain health, heart health, muscle health, you name it, bone health. These are organ systems. But every single organ in your body has something called a mitochondria. It's a cell. It's actually the most powerful cells in your body because it's where you convert your food into ATP. That's the usable energy that we use to power the body. You think, you move by producing ATP. Okay? We don't run on gasoline or battery packs. So all the energy you produce in your body is through the mitochondria. Now, as we age, we know a lot of the cofactors in the mitochondria start to decline. One of them is called NAD, and this is trending. You're going to see all these billionaires who do these intravenous drips for NAD. They talk about, I went to go get my NAD drip, or I'm doing an NAD injection, where a lot of companies are offering NAD precursors through nutrition. And so you're going to be hearing about those a lot more. And there's a lot of different types. And we think it's very exciting because it's a great way to help support the health of the mitochondria. And by the way, when you eat all these great foods that we talked about and supplementation and you exercise, you're supporting your mitochondria as well. Okay? Now, exercise is pretty straightforward. I think everyone knows, of course, if I exercise, if I stretch, if I do resistance, you're going to take care of everything from the brain, the heart, the skin, everything. Your bones, everything is going to be taken care of when you exercise. And not only does it tell the mitochondria to sort of create more and be more efficient with energy, it tells the brain to actually support its tissue. It's actually brain-derived neurotrophic factor, things that are being supported just through exercise. So everything from skeletal muscle, head to the toes, are taken care of with exercise, okay? And I'm going to get close to ending here because since we talked a good amount about nutrition and supplementation, and we also talked about exercise just for a little bit, I do want to touch on community. And I just mentioned earlier, getting plugged into a community is so important. Both my parents passed away, but my mom lived to be 90, my dad lived to be 80. And as my mom, who outlived my father, my mom was, in her last 10 years of her life, she was really trying to plug into communities. And I was actively trying to get her to, go to the community center, go for a walk, meet people in the park. She's a real chatty type of person. And the more you can get plugged into some type of community, the research has shown you're just going to live a healthier and most likely longer life. So it's really crucial. I think it's super important. So I think when you check the boxes, nutrition, and I related sleep with nutrition, exercise, and of course a supportive community. I think those are really important ways to take care of all these things. And it doesn't have to be, it can be your own thing. It could be a book club, a walking club, a hula hoop club, whatever you think works for you. There's plenty of research, including the Harvard study of adult development, shows that healthy aging and a supportive community are associated. Okay, the last slide, I'm going to turn it back to our MC. Whatever you do with food, whether it's supplementation, I use a lot of supplements. As Michael mentioned, I've been on my journey for 37 years because I was using supplements when I was 18 years of age. I was on the track team at UCLA, and a lot of people were using something called creatine back in 1988, which is crazy. And we used something called sodium bicarbonate, which would help buffer the lactic acid. And we used, believe it or not, protein shakes and some amino acids, which were given to the football players. So they would give the leftovers to the track guys and girls. So I used a lot of supplements because it would help my performance. Even as an 18-year-old, it was clear as day. All I'm suggesting to all of you, whether you use whole foods with supplements or you like to blend them or do whatever look for the transparency on the food label and the supplement label. Look for all the things, whether it's an NSF certified, whether it's gluten-free, halal, because you want to make sure there's transparency on the ingredients that you choose. I think that's really important for whatever food or supplement you're going with. You want to make sure there's a level of trust. A lot of people think about things that they trust. They go to their go-to supplement because they know it works, but they also feel tremendously trustful or trustworthy that what they're ingesting is truly inside the product and on the label. So I'm going to stop there. Hopefully I'm respecting the time, Michael. I'm going to kick it back to you. But again, I want to reinforce nutrition. Sleep is an important part, but we want to tie those together because remember we talked about the nutrients for sleep. Exercise and of course community is so powerful. So I'll turn it back to our MC, but I do want to thank each and every one of you for your participation. And this is such a wonderful opportunity to help so many people, including ourselves and others that we love in our communities. So Michael, back to you. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Luigi. Absolutely incredible. And it is staggering, all the statistical information and the knowledge of what happens as we age is so important, such that, not, like you said, not only taking care of yourself, but the people that you care about and you love. And so as we move along, Okay, we have got our next section, and it's more inside of mindset and community. But wait till you hear this. This young gentleman is 82 years young. Okay, he plays basketball, a filmmaker, a certified meditation coach, 38 years on his wellness journey. And I want to bring on Amartat Cohen. Amartat, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you, and thank you, Dr. Luigi. Really, so much great information. Yes, I'm 82 years old, and I'm happy to say old. In fact, every year I'm happy when I get my next birthday because I say I'm 83, I'm 84, I'm 85, right? So, what do you want the next 40 years of your life to be like? Think about it. Now you say, well, I don't know what age you are, so that'd be interesting. Why don't you put how old you are in the chat group? I'd be very interested to see what different ages we've got here. But for myself, I'm 82, and 40 years will put me just about to 120, right? And so another little thing to try is take, if you have something to write on, if not, just put it in your head. How old do you think you're going to live to? Of course, there's so many things we can't control, but let's say, and of course you want to live to that age in good health and so forth, but just put an age down on a piece of paper or on your mind or in your phone. Now, add 10 years to it, because most likely with all that's happening with science and taking the education we're giving you and doing some things that you can do for yourself, it's very possible that you'll all live 10 years more or more than you think you will. And that creates great opportunities, but also some problems because you have to figure out how you're going to maintain yourself during those years. So let me change my screen here and share my screen here. Okay. Let's go to my screen. Okay, so, oops, I forgot to do one thing here, so let me do this. Okay, here we go. There. So, so what do you want the next 40 years to look like? And of course, the way that we can have the maximum advantage of those years is to stay in good health, activity, mentally and physically. And a lot of that is if you can increase your health span, and we'll talk a little bit even more about what that means, it's going to increase your ever rising lifespan, which means quality and longevity. Health span has a lot to do with the way we think. When we stay healthy and vibrant, as long as we feel young and tell ourselves that we have those advantages that younger people have, physically and mentally, our age doesn't matter so much. That's very interesting. I mean, you asked me how old I am. The chronological age being 82, certainly if I go on the scale, my body age is younger, but I don't feel anything like 82. And it's really shocking to me when I go do my medical checkups and I see all the people who are much younger than me in wheelchairs and everything else. There's so much that we can do to take care of ourselves. And I've got this interesting book you might want to look into. It's called Lifespan, Why We Age and Why We Don't Have to by David Sinclair. He writes here, we're on the cusp of upending nearly every idea we've ever had about what it means to be human. It's not unreasonable to expect for anyone who's alive and healthy today to reach 100 in good health, active and engaged at levels which we normally consider for someone at 50 years old today. If cellular reprogramming reaches its potential, by century's end, 150 years old may not be out of reach. So it's time now to see what I'm doing, because aging is a choice. we're gonna inevitable. It's inevitable, but how we age is a choice. And some people ask me, Amartat, I want to be 80, like when you are when you're 82. Well, I don't know if you want to do all the things that I do to get there, because it's definitely a focus, a consciousness that you take that will help you get there. And people say, well, oh, it's your genes. You know, how old were your parents? You know, so forth and so on. But the truth of the matter is that only 30% of it has to do with our genes. 70% is what we eat, how we eat physical exercise, how we keep our mind working, how we maintain our muscle mass, a lot of the things that Dr. Luigi said, maintain our body composition. Supplements are so important because the food chain today does not give us all we need, and our body can't metabolize it and use everything that we could use when we were younger. And of course, community, social life. And what I'm going to focus on today is, I think, the most important, which is our mindset. How you feel for yourself, what you have a direction in your own activities, and what you put on your plate, that's your mindset. And mindset is actually, you could say, in a way, it's positivity. In a way, it's when we stay positive and take the best we can out of everything that happens to us. You know, getting older is going to make a lot of changes. In this book also, he talks about it. A person who's 80 or 85 has all these different types of diseases or handicaps, and that's normal. But what we think about it, how we act about it, whether we let that pull us down or we go with what's there and we find other opportunities, that has to do with our mindset. And so there are 5 common challenges that we find with aging. With, first of all, we have our physical decline. There's no way that our body's going to be the same. Yes, I still play basketball, but honestly, I'm not jumping as high as I used to. I'm not hitting the shots. I have to walk sometimes when I go full court. But the point is, if you're continually active, you have a much better chance. I force myself to go play, actually, because I know I get more activity and cardiovascular than I do walking around the park. Okay, but so we have physical decline. What's your attitude going to be like? Well, right now, I've got a shoulder. Okay, I've torn my rotator cuff. This one I already tore and operated on. This one is now gone, and a bone spur, so I'm going to be operating on January 1st. Am I frightened about it? Am I worried about it? No. I don't like the rehabilitation process, which is quite painful, but I want to have my physical activity on both my arms long term, as long as 40 years if possible, whatever it is. And the other side there, you see me getting my pacemaker put in. I actually have a very slow heartbeat, around 35 beats a minute, and that's too slow, they say, so they put a pacemaker in and they keep it at 45. But what's so important is that you know your numbers. Now, what does that mean? That means you've got to know your physical, how your body's functioning and what might not be going well. And the best way to do that is to go frequent testing. It could actually save your life. I'm amazed at how some people avoid getting their blood tests. If you're over 45, you need to be doing a colonoscopy. My son didn't. He got colon cancer at 43. Fortunately, he's doing quite well. The cancer seems to be gone, but you've got to catch these things early. Personally, I had prostate cancer, and my doctor forced me to take the blood test, which showed that my PSA levels were rising, and he did a biopsy, and if you catch disease early, you have a much better chance of curing it. So the most important thing for women, mammograms, right? Colonoscopy for everyone over 45. Really get your blood test. Take your tests regularly as our medical system suggests we do, and it could save your life. Okay? And the second thing is negative self-talk. We're constantly imagining things that are not going well and holding on to things sometimes that are difficult, right? You can't change what's difficult, but you can work on the solutions rather than talking about the problems. We say that 90% of our effort should go toward the solution and not continually reliving and talking about and sharing the miseries and the problems that you have. That in itself will change greatly the way you look at your next day, your next week, your next life. And that goes along with what you say, no problem attitude. Of course, there are situations that are difficult. You know, people that are caught in some sort of tragedy can't exactly say no problem, but they can say, I'm going to work on a solution to get better in this horrible situation. And of course, one of the things that helps a lot is some sort of coming back to yourself and healing yourself. Mindfulness, prayer, meditation, you know, and one of the most important parts is gratitude. So let's just take a moment while we're here together, all of us, and just close your eyes for a minute. Take a deep breath, and then take 3 deep breaths and be aware I'm breathing. Be aware of your breath as you take 3 deep breaths. And now keep your eyes closed and just think of everything you have to be grateful for. Your parents, your health, your family, whatever's going well for you. So many people to thank. Just fill yourself with gratitude for everything that you have that's great in your life. Okay, great. And if you can do, you know, something every day, take some 5 minutes to yourself in quiet or prayer or meditation, it will greatly change your negative self-talk. And of course, we talked about community, loneliness, and loss. It's great to find a community to inspire you. Fortunately, we here have a great community. Everyone on this call, we're part of a community. We're all trying to get ourselves better and healthier. And one of the things you can do is join a group that's doing some sort of exercise. If you're not mobile, we can even do chair exercises. In fact, you can do that right here. You're going to punch straight out and punch straight up. Out, up, out, up, out. Up, out, up, out, up, out, up. You might want to do it a little longer than that, but 20% exercise and 80% is your nutrition. And the rest of the talk, you'll hear about some great supplements that you can take every day to add to your healthy diet. Personally, what I do is I take 8+ supplements every day for 37 years from the Herbalife company. I take special things to take care of my heart health, my bone health, my muscle health, my blood sugar levels, my mind, and my immunity system. And that's, you know, you want to be 82 like me? I can recommend that you've got to take some sort of supplements every day in addition to watching your diet. And now, what about irrelevant and purpose? If you don't have a purpose in life, so many people retire and they die very quickly afterwards because they've lost their purpose. I found a great purpose in my life. I've found the ability to help other people get healthy, take more income into their lives. Fortunately for me, one of the things that I have to be grateful to is that I found a business with the Herbalife products to help other people, and that's right now for me. My focus is no longer money. My focus is how many people can I get and help to live a longer and healthier life and to have a proper life with their income so they don't struggle. So many older people, if they're going to live 40 years longer, they're going to run out of money before they run out of life. And many other people already have money. They've built up a career. They're How long are you going to sit for 40 years reading books and going on vacations? You need purpose. I need purpose. And I'm so happy to be able to help people all over the world. And, you know, aging, as Betty Friedan says, is not lost youth, but a new stage of opportunity and strength. You know, I'm awesome at 80. You can be awesome at any age you want. All you have to do is make conscious choices and keep your mind positive. How many people can you help to have new hope? You know, how many people can you help now and give back and contribute to others their life? And if you're young, if you're 40 or 50, you need to start thinking about your retirement now. How are you going to financially take care of it, and all the things you need to do to take care of your body. I'm 82 years old. I'm excited about what I can discover every day. And I'm so happy to share my journey with you.
Awesome, Amartya. Thank you so much. And what a beautiful journey you've been on. And thank you for sharing yourself and your mindset, your activity, and everything that you're committed to. And boy, you stretched my vision of how many more decades I can be here. So we appreciate you a lot. And so, well, we're going to transition. And Amartya talked about supplementation, and he talked about the value in his program, and Luigi certainly pointed to it. So I'm going to bring on one of a favorite young lady of mine, and for a lot of you that do know her, but 68 years young. Okay, she's got three daughters, two grandpups. Okay, I don't know if they're puppies, but they're dogs, right? Super active. Okay, so listen to this. Okay, skiing, hiking, horseback riding, pickleball. Okay, she's been in 7 different countries this year so far. All right, you ready for this? Remember, 68, okay? Paragliding this summer in Switzerland, she just accomplished, right? Okay, talk about active, vital, and alive. Okay, 45 years on her wellness journey. I want to bring on Leslie Stanford.
Thank you so much, Michael. Wow, such great information, right?
No.
Ready tonight with Dr. Luigi and Amartya, and even you threw some gems in there too, Michael. One of the things that I picked up on with Luigi was that in 2 years I'm going to be falling off a cliff, apparently. So I'm going to do but there's hope I could turn things around. So you can start at any point to really turn everything around. If you're just starting your wellness journey, and you are the people that I'm really going to be focused on today, or in my part, is the people who are really just getting started. I was madly taking notes as I was listening. That was so great. There's a lot of things that I can improve on. And, I know, like all of you, it feels like everywhere we turn, people are talking about these very subjects: the longevity, healthy lifespan, living longer, living healthier. And I don't know if it's just because I'm right smack dab in the middle of this demographic that starts to, we start to think about our mortality and how we want to spend the rest of our years. But there is so much information out there. There's a lot of opinions out there. And so it can be really overwhelming and really confusing about what's right and what to focus on. But I think there's some things that we can all agree on, and that the most important things we can do for our health have already been mentioned, and that is exercise, sleep, nutrition, and a sense of purpose or community. So, Amartya, you especially touched on all of those things, and I'm going to focus my thoughts and my words on nutrition. I'm just going to give a couple of tips over the years that I've discovered have really worked for me. Generally speaking, staying away from highly processed foods, Luigi kind of mentioned it, is really something we should all work on. Those are just metabolism busters and really not good for our health at all in any way. And, when buying groceries, going to the grocery store is really where it starts. I first of all, never go to the store hungry. I mean, we've all had that experience where we're famished and we're just like this, and we tend to grab those things in the snack aisle, foods that we know we shouldn't be eating, but we're so hungry and we just so never go to the grocery store hungry. That's one thing, because what's in our house is what we tend to eat, right? If unless we're eating out, but I try to not have those kinds of things in the house at all, so I'm not even tempted. Secondly, buy most of the things at the grocery store on the outside aisles. That's where all the fresh produce is. That's where all the meats and fish and the healthier foods are. So that's where most of our grocery cart should be purchased. And then I also find that if good food is convenient, if we have to prepare something or chop up something, when we're really hungry, we tend to just go for the bad stuff, right? So what I always keep on hand and make sure that's in the fridge, I have chopped veggies handy with hummus. Another one of my favorite snacks is having an apple, fiber, with almond butter, which is protein. And also I just have a lot of nuts around. So these are just a couple of tips that I have. Eating out at a restaurant or going to a party. Here's a little tip that I found really, really helps me is you never want to go to the party hungry. And it sounds counterintuitive that you don't want to go to the restaurant hungry, but man, I go to the restaurant, and if I'm hungry, I eat the entire bread basket before they've even taken my order. It's just like, so what I do is I'll tell you a little bit about our protein shakes later, but I whip up a quick protein shake, slam it back, and by the time I get to the restaurant, the edge is taken off, and I don't even feel like, eating that kind of thing. So just a few little tips: slow down, don't eat so fast. We're trying to wait for the brain to get the message that you're full. And then drink lots of water. These are just a couple of tips that have helped me. I know your coach, the person who got you on this Zoom, will probably give you a lot more of their favorite tips, but those are a few things that I really found to be helpful for me. A long time ago, I remember a mentor of mine saying that if your diet is less than perfect, you need supplementation. And that really made a lot of sense to me, because I had taken some nutrition courses at university, and I knew how to put balanced meals together and all of that. But do you think I ever, hardly ever, it's so hard to even do it for one day. And I used to do diet counseling, and people wrote down what they ate, and not one person stuck to what I told them to do as far as, the food and the balanced meals. And so we just have to make it easier for ourselves. So I made the decision 45 years ago to start to supplement every day, so that, to cover those days, when we get busy and skip meals and those kinds of things, or don't even have access to good foods. A lot of us travel, we don't have access to things, really healthy food. And so I supplement, and I chose Herbalife products to supplement with. Starting 45 years ago, there weren't that many nutrition companies back then. And so I feel super lucky that I picked a company that has lasted this long. Number one, stayed in business this long, but also a company that's continued to build on their product line and has such a high level of science and certification, research and development, and a company that's continued to adapt and grow with the latest research and development. And you heard Dr. Luigi, talk about all our certifications and that kind of thing. So I really have a high level of trust in the products with Herbalife. When I started on my health journey, I needed to lose weight, and I did lose 45 pounds originally. But, over the 45 years, different things happened. I had the 3 babies. I had to lose the weight after the pregnancies. Then I had low energy, probably because of those kids and all the things that I was doing, working and looking after the kids and that kind of thing. So energy was a big thing, and sleep. And then digestive issues. I started having some digestive issues. And now I'm focused on healthy aging. So the Herbalife products have taken me through all the stages of life, which is amazing, really. So we've come up with some suggestions of some product bundles to get you started. And it's just to make it easier for people, but I strongly recommend that you get back with the person who invited you on the Zoom. Somebody cared enough about you to tell you about this. And they might be your nutrition coach. But get back with them because they can customize a program just for you. And they can, I saw on the Zoom people from Indonesia and India and all over the world. And so, they have, the coaches in those countries can help guide you as well based on products available in your country and based on your individual needs as well. So let's take a look at some of these programs. Wait till I learned a new trick today, and that's how to share a screen. So I'm very proud of myself. Wow, look at that, it worked. Okay, so here's our silver bundle, and we call this our silver program. We heard Dr. Luigi talking about protein. We lose muscle as we age. We need a lot of protein, way more than we think we need to maintain our muscles. I try to get about 100 grams of protein every day. To try to get that in food would be almost impossible. And so I supplement with, this is a protein shake that's 24 grams of protein. It's whey-based protein. You can mix it in water. You don't need milk. You don't need to put it in a blender even. You can if you want, but it tastes delicious. And I think that's the first surprise that you're going to get with us is how great the shakes taste. And, a note on the protein shakes, we have a wide variety of shake mixes with various sources of proteins. So if you're vegan, we have a vegan line. We have whey-based, soy-based, plant-based. Whatever you're looking for, we have a really great tasting shake for you, and that'll be your big surprise. So your coach can help you pick the best one for you. The second product in the silver healthy lifespan bundle is the active fiber complex. You heard Luigi talking about fiber. We need about 30 grams a day, and most days we don't even get I think the American diet, for example, the average person gets about 10 to 15 grams. So we really need to supplement with fiber. And this product has about 6 grams of fiber. You can add it to water. We have flavored ones like tropical. We have an apple one. You can just add it to water. It stirs up really nicely, or you can throw it in your shake and drink it all at once in your shake. The third product is Memory Armor, and I don't think there's probably a person on the line that's not worried about their memory, right? I've had a lot of concussions, and I really worry about my brain health. And Memory Armor contains an ingredient called bacopa, which is a plant that's used in Ayurvedic Indian medicine, and it supports short-term memory. And the only problem is you just have to remember to take it. That's a joke, okay. And then the last product in that bundle is the NRGT. This contains an herb from South America called guarana. I think they say it guarana or something like that, but it contains about 40 milligrams of caffeine. But it just hits different, this product. This caffeine, it's definitely helps more with mental alertness and focus and concentration. So you just have to try it. You can drink it hot or cold. You can add it to your shake. And I'm going to take a little moment here, okay, to show you how to make a shake and how easy it is. Here's what I do. I get a shaker cup, one with a stainless steel ball, okay, with the lid. And what I've done is I've made a shake with the Rebuild Strength, 2 scoops of this. I put in a scoop of the fiber. This is all in the silver bundle. And then I actually throw the NRGT in the shake. I added some water, shake it up, and it's that simple. I mean, how quick is that? And this is how I do it when I go to a restaurant or before I go to a restaurant, or when I get feeling really hungry and I know that if I don't take something quick, I'm going to do something I'll regret. Your blood sugar level gets low and you get tired, hungry, and grumpy, and that's when it all falls apart. Okay, let's go to the next bundle. and that is the Gold Program. So the Gold Program has all the products in the Silver Program, but we've added Herbal Lifeline. Herbal Lifeline is the omega-3 fatty acids. You heard Dr. Luigi talk about these. I'm sure you know how beneficial these are. Everybody's talking about omega-3s for heart health. We know that's for heart health, but it also helps with brain health. There's been a lot of studies recently come out that show that that omega-3s help with brain health. So this is kind of one of my non-negotiables because of my brain situation with my concussions. And then we added Nightworks, which is another one that Dr. Luigi talked about. It supports nitric oxide production it opens blood vessels, he mentioned. It's great for blood flow, circulation, healthy function of the heart, brain, and all other organs. Most heart attacks occur in the wee hours of the morning when the nitric oxide levels are the lowest, and that's why we call it Nightworks. We take it at night. And so I take it every single night. I've taken it every single night since it came out. And I also take it in the daytime. So, I just throw it in with the daytime too. I have a couple of doses. So again, my concern is with concussion, so I'm hypervigilant with brain health products. Okay, next level is the Platinum Program. We have all of these, plus we just launched a longevity line of products. Okay, this is a whole new line that's focused on lifespan and longevity. It's called Life.io, and the first product out is a cutting-edge NAD product. It's called Baseline. Now, Dr. Luigi talked about NAD, and I feel like everyone in the longevity space is talking about NAD. Our levels of NAD start to diminish at age 30, so a long time ago for me, and there's several key ingredients in here that work synergistically that have very specific functions to help provide great nutrition at the cellular level. So I remember when we were learning about this product, I think it was Dr. Heiss that said, think of it as the spark plug for your body. And so he had the spark plug. I grabbed it, and I've been taking it 2 a day ever since. And then the final product that we added in the Platinum Program is the Extra Cal. This is a calcium and vitamin D supplement. It just supports healthy bones and teeth. We know that that's essential. As we age, our bones start to get more and more fragile, and weight-bearing exercise will help with that, and of course calcium supplements and vitamin D. So these are just some ideas. Again, get together with your coach. We have ways to customize programs based on your body composition, based on your health goals, and just exactly what you specifically need. We've got a wide variety of product lines from healthy energy. We've got the creatine that Dr. Luigi talked about. We have heart and brain health, digestive health line. We have a joint health line. We have a whole line of products also that are NSF tested for sport, for athletes. And actually this Rebuild Strength is a recovery shake after a workout, but I take it, just to get the protein in it. That's my current protein shake. I kind of switch around. So with that, good for you for being here, really taking the time to learn. Most people just go through life responding to whatever comes their way and reacting. So for me, it's really just being here with you gives me a purpose. Amar talked about his purpose. I love this. I love to help people with this. It's a passion of mine. It's a passion in my life. And so being here with you really gives me a purpose and gives me a sense of community, all these people that we work with. And I very much appreciate that. So thank you. And back to you.
Awesome. Leslie, thank you so much. And boy, when I really dialed in on getting some supplementation and getting a shake maybe an hour before I went to the restaurant, boy, I was a happier person, and everybody at the table really enjoyed. They didn't know I did it, but they were like, wow, you're different. So absolutely fantastic. And like Leslie said, the person who invited you on the line is really going to really support you in customizing what your goals and what you're up to. But thank you so much. We do have one more section, okay, that we're going to get into here. But I did want to let everybody know, because this is, in a sense, the end of our nutrition workshop, okay, that on Tuesday night, January 13th, is going to be our next Healthy Life Span workshop. So take a quick picture of this, and the Zoom ID is there. And we will have more lines available for that. And we apologize that we were capped at 500. That caught us by surprise as well. But let's move along, because we've got one more section. We've got, just an extraordinary man. Okay, 74 years young, works out 6 days a week, loves to ski. At this point, he's occasionally surfing, but I don't know. He probably gets out there more than he wants to say. He's a big pickleball guy, but I have a sense that in the pre-meeting, Leslie told me that she could take him out on pickleball. So I think we've got a match that we're going to film. I don't know where we're going to do that, but I think, John, you'll speak to that because you're going to get the mic in a second. But very active social and travel schedule, 44 years on his wellness journey. John Tartle, are you there?
I'm here, Michael. And the challenge is accepted, Leslie.
All right.
Can't wait. Anyway, I think this has been a great call. And, the information on health and fitness is really what got me going. I actually started as a customer. I was in my late 20s, and I was taking shakes and vitamins. And I have to admit, I really didn't feel it with these other products. But I got on the shake and tasted great, which surprised me. And I lost 12 pounds. We have a product that helps with digestion and herbal aloe. That really helped me out too. And people noticed it. And, at the time, by the way, I was a musician. I played keyboards. I'd gone to law school for a year, and I said, I can always be a lawyer. I want to be a rock and roll star. So I pursued that, and that business was crazy. It was up and down, not very rational, had a lot of fun. But, I've also been goal-oriented. And so when I got the results, I thought, okay, I'll talk about it. I'll just share it. People had told me, you ought to get into sales. And I said, I don't know. I was kind of shy on that because I frankly thought so many times salespeople were just trying to sell people something they really didn't need, they didn't want, and maybe making false promises. But here, because I got the results, and I saw other people getting results, I said, wait a minute, this stuff really works. So I want to help people. And I was, it took me a little bit, but I was lucky enough to get my sister Mary, she's going to be speaking next month, on the product. And she lost over 70 pounds, okay? And she looks great, and then we got my dad on, and my dad, lost over 80 pounds. My sister-in-law, and now we have our children on the product. So the product drove us, okay? The fact that we could help people, for me, the fact that I could help people and also have an opportunity financially that could, first of all, supplement my income. I just wanted some, good part-time income. But then as I continued to do it and build confidence and saw all the results people are getting, both with health and also with the financial side, it inspired me more. And, I was able to build a business all over. I lived in London at one point for a year just because I wanted to, and helped build a business around the world. And about 10 years later, I went and lived in Paris for 3 years. Why not? Pourquoi pas? I mean, it was a phenomenal experience. And so that's something that was offered here. I always wanted to travel. I like to travel. And the fact that I could actually build a business traveling has been very exciting. And, one thing I want to point out too, because we're really focusing, we said, on healthy lifespan. And so we were targeting people 40, 50, 60, 70 plus years old. And there's so many people that, first of all, let's say if you're younger here today, well, I would hope that what you heard about the product inspired you to talk to people like your parents or friends or aunts or uncles, to take a look at the product, try them out, because I'm telling you, it's life-changing. When my dad lost 64 pounds, doctor told him he was going to have a heart attack and die. And he ended up passing away 30 years later. And by the way, built a big business here. And so, you want to talk to them. And by the way, if you're a little older, guess what? Your kids probably need the product. Your kids are, some of you are, my case, 74, my children are adults. And it's comforting to me know that they're getting, great nutrition on the products. And we are so blessed as a family because of our product results, the family started doing the business together, and we're all over the country. We're not together here. We're literally, from one coast to the next, to the south, to the north. But because of being involved with this, we're close because we talk just about every day, and we like each other, so that helps. So I want to just point out a couple things, though. So targeting people that are 40 and over, and by the way, this can work for anyone, but let's talk about that, group of people. When you start getting older, there's more economic uncertainty, okay? I mean, as you get older, there's a shrinking career path, is what they say. In that, sometimes as you're getting older, companies are looking for people who are younger, that maybe you're kind of stuck with where you're at. We all have the issues, by the way, all of us, of rising cost of living. But when you get a little older, healthcare starts to come more into play as people are starting to pay more attention and getting the testing done and looking for ways to stay fit and healthy. And also when you get into your 40s, 50s, you start thinking, is this something I want to do the rest of my life? Is what I'm doing right now meaningful to me? Is it something that I look forward to doing every day? You could feel the energy from all of us. We love what we do, and that's a real blessing for all of us. It's been fantastic because it's meaningful when you get somebody thanking you for getting them on the product, changing their life because they just feel better, they look better. And then the same thing can happen financially. I know for me, $500 was what I wanted. And I made $1,000 the first month, and it was like, that was life-changing. I could go to a restaurant and not have to worry when something said market price, okay? Or, so these things may not seem important, but they are, extra money just takes pressure off. And so, in the second half, many people's priorities shift, like I said, about health. Maybe they want more freedom. They're tired of being bossed around. They want more purpose in life, and they want to be able to contribute, right? And so many people in the olden days, my parents, people look forward to retirement when they could start enjoying life, when they could start going on trips, doing more of the things they wanted to do, the hobbies. People don't want to wait for that anymore. People want those things now. But so many times with the kind of work that they're doing, it just isn't possible. And that's something that is possible here. It's pretty amazing, actually. So here's a way to take more control of you, other than letting other people control you, because we are independent here, but there's a tremendous support system that we have built around this. So the product support, as you saw, healthy aging, right? It helps with more energy, with weight management. The business is flexible. You can go at your own pace. We have plans and ways to do this that whatever your situation is, we can definitely make a plan. And what's really cool is that, think about it with COVID. Everybody was home. Somehow communities got very small. And even though we've been away from COVID for a while, people have lost some people skills and they miss being around people. They've even forgotten how to interact with people well. Well, this is a positive community. I never realized how negative my friends were and that I was around until I got involved here. And I was around positive people. I went, wow, all my friends are really, they're sarcastic, they're cynical, and I was kind of the same way, So I don't know where these pictures are coming from, but anyway, wonderful. And so here's something where you can be around a positive group of people. And one saying, there's a business philosopher, Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn was a part of the company. Many people know of him around the world. But he had one saying that changed my life. It was said to me after I saw the opportunity. And they said, for things to change, you have to change. For things to become better, you have to become better. And it was so simple, but so logical. And I thought, well, what do I have to do to change? And they said, well, all you really have to do is use the product, okay, because it's going to help you with your health, your energy. It's going to show you a path financially. We used to say, wear the button or wear the brand or do something to talk to people. Use Wear Talk. And if you just talk to people, and we can show you what to say, how to say it. There's so many ways that we do the business. Might go over a couple, but we're on a mission here to help people lead a healthier, happier life. Now, one little adjunct here: women re-entering the workforce in their 40s. What are some of the issues there, right? Sometimes you have a difficulty in finding these equal roles, when you're coming back after being away for a while. There's age bias that impacts it, okay? And same thing with advancement. Now, another thing, though, is this. When you're in your 40s, if you do have children, a lot of times your children are teenagers. And this is a tough balance to have. You want to be there for your family, but you also want to do something, that gets your brain going, that you can build the business or do something positive, help people. So it's hard in a normal job to do both. But here, we set our pace, we set our time, and you can work around that, okay? That was really important for me. I was able to go to the kids' plays and drop them off at school and pick them up and things like that. It really created a great bond for us. And so Herbalife offers, that empowerment, that community. Community is so important. And so when you look at the basic facts of the people's in their 40s, I'm going to go through the 40s, 50s, 60s now, 70s. In the 40s, you still have a career issues that happen and families stress that kind of there's a convergence there. You have to deal with. We have answers here. Also what happens? Metabolism is beginning to change, right? Energy changes, and you've heard about some of the results that we can help with that. People are reevaluating. Is this something, I'm 42 years old, is this something I want to do for the next 20 years, 30 years, 40 years? So people are looking at that, okay? And we have something here that could be really invigorating and satisfying. And so people are, they're looking for wellness, supplemental income, and flexibility. And, as people then get into their 50s, let's think about that one. You have career uncertainty. Why? Because often if you're successful in your career in the 50s, you're probably making good money. Well, your company also wants to make good money. So oftentimes they go, do we want to pay Bill or Mary that big income that we're paying them? Or should we hire this new hotshot out of college and pay him half or a third? Okay, so people get a little bit worried there. They're restructuring the company. On the other side, maybe in your 50s, you're just burnt out on what you're doing. It's not something that is totally fulfilling. You're kind of burnt out or bored. So here's an opportunity for something new that, frankly, can go anywhere, okay? There's also in your 50s, there are hormonal changes, right? You get weight management issues, you get emotional issues. So that's something that we can help with here, but that could affect you financially too. Another big one. In the 50s now, the kids are older, and we have empty nest syndrome. Uh-oh, kids are gone. What am I going to do? What are we going to do together? So it's like, okay, you have to fill that void. And here's a way to fill the void with fun, because this business is fun, with community, helping people, and both with health and wealth, okay? And, so here's that bridge, too. People are thinking about retirement, and as we pointed out here, people are looking at living longer. So here's a way to bridge that. People in their 60s, now they're kind of reinventing, themselves. What are they going to do post-career? Because how many times, we talked about it earlier, do we see people retiring that just retire and they're gone in 2 years? They're bored, they don't have purpose, they're gone. I don't ever see myself retiring here. Well, why? I can set my own hours, having fun, helping people, helping my children, and helping, my teams around the world. It's fun, okay? And then people in their 60s, they are concerned, a lot of them, about outliving their savings. Social Security really going to do it, Is it going to give you the options you really want when you get into your 60s, 70s, 80s? Okay? So people want to stay more active. They want to stay sharp. They want to stay connected, looking for something meaningful, really meaningful and low pressure. Then you hit your 70s. Now what? Well, you're looking to stay relevant, stay sharp. You want to contribute still. Loneliness, we talked about it earlier. Lonely becomes a health risk, by the way. So here's something where it puts you in a community of people. We talk to people. And as you help people, it is so satisfying. The other day, yesterday, I helped one of my people make their first sale. And this lady was so happy to get on the product. My rep was so happy to get, help them with the sale. It was so satisfying to everybody. Okay, so it's exciting there. So you have that, connection, you have that purpose, and you go at your own pace. So finally, here it is. You got flexibility to work anywhere, anytime. Like I said, I like to travel. I've traveled the world extensively, and just because I wanted to. You don't have to, by the way. People have built big businesses here working from home, okay? But the other side, you can align your income with your health goals, depending upon what your situation is. I'm telling you, we have plans for everybody. We have, like I say over and over, the supportive community and friendship. We sometimes kid, but don't kid about herbal love. Okay, so many of the people who are married, they met their other half in Herbalife at a social event, at a meeting, and that's interesting. So it's a very social company. It's purpose driven, and they said part-time or full-time, no problem. And sometimes people say, yeah, but I'm 60, I'm 70, I'm 80. Let me tell you, that empowers you, right? Because as you talk to people, they're not thinking, oh, they're young, they don't know what they're talking about. No. You've been through it normally. Whatever the issue is that person has, you've been through it. So that gives them confidence because you've been there, all right? The other thing, as you increase in age, your coaching ability helps because you can take from your experience, both in business, with just life, to coach people in a more effective way. And by the way, we train on that too. Also, with the life lessons that we all learn, as we get older, it helps with leadership. And you have an opportunity here to lead a team if you want to, okay, if you want to. But it's, like I said, it's really fulfilling to build a team, lead them, give them direction. I know so many people, when you're involved with this, we're really into personal development and all that, and you think everybody is, but everybody isn't. Because everybody, like when I was growing up, they said, look, you go to school, you get the best grades, you get into the best company you can, work 24 hours a day, save your money, and die. Okay? That's not what I wanted. I don't think most people want it. So here, you can build up an incredible story. And so finally, with your your story is your strength. And that's why we say use the product. You use the product, that will give you confidence about what the product can do for other people too, and what it's going to do for you. I mean, my lifestyle. So this morning I was on the Tanita scale. My metabolic age was 13 years old. Hallelujah. Okay, so you could share. So you could share that with people. You share your wellness challenges and your wins with people. People like it's funny. Social media is so much of it is just reality TV, and that's what we do here. We share stories. It's just storytelling. Some people have said we are professional storytellers that can lead to a great part-time income to something pretty extraordinary if you put in the work, okay? And so finally, you say, but how do you do it? Well, we'll train you, but let me tell you, as you get on the product and you see the opportunity, I would hope you want to talk to people you know. That's number one. Who do you know? Who do those people know that need it? Luckily my family got involved, but not all the aunts and uncles. So we had to talk to other people. And so we do everything from, we have advertising, we have nutrition clubs, that we have built out that you'll learn about. We have transformation challenges, weight loss challenges, health challenges that are all fun to do. Social media, the people that want to do it. And if you're, and then just talking to people. So interesting. This week, with the holiday week and everything, what's everybody talking about? They're eating too much junk, okay? It's cookies, it's junk, it's big meals. And so you'll start noticing conversations around you of people saying, man, I've got to lose weight. Man, I need more energy. And oh my gosh, I'm spending too much money for the holidays. This is where we have answers for all of that. So anyway, I hope you take this to heart. Right away, I suggest getting on the product. And then if you're looking for something pretty extraordinary to do, whether it's really part-time, because you're your own boss. Nobody can fire you here. You're independent, but you're not alone. We are here to help you because everybody wins when you win. All right, that's the beauty of what we do. So, Mike, I'm going to turn it back to you. I'm looking forward to meeting a lot of you around the world.
Awesome. Thank you, John. And before you leave, John, you need to check the chat because there's another comment in there from your pickleball person.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
follow
you'll
up on
enjoy
that.
it. Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, everybody. It's again to all the speakers, John, to Leslie, to Amartad, to Dr. Luigi, who had to jump off, and he's now on a planning call for another call that's going to be happening in the Asia Pacific region. Just want to appreciate everybody tuning in and granting your listening. We really do hope that you got value tonight, whether you ever get associated with us or not, that you can take some of the information and inspiration and education tonight and apply it to your life, that you have a healthier lifespan as you go. And JD, if you could bring the slide back up on January 13th, there we go. And as we say goodnight to everybody, we wish you the happiest of holidays, whatever you might be celebrating around the world. Thank you, everybody from around the world, in joining. We'll see you all on January 13th. Take a picture of this. And with that, I'm going to say good night. Thank you, everyone.